Hi folks, Ricky Tang here. Just one camera today on my crash helmet. So, hello. And it's a lovely sunny 2nd or 3rd of June, probably the 3rd now, isn't it? And although I was tied up this morning, not literally, I thought I'd come out this afternoon for a little spin. That bike's older than mine. I actually did 220 odd miles yesterday riding from home in Gloucester down to Lynmouth. But basically the plan was go down there, have an ice cream, take some photos of the bike, of the VFR, and come home. And I did that. And I came to the conclusion that I want a bike with all the modern amenities and creature comforts that you get with a 21st century motorbike, which you don't get with a late 20th century motorbike. Such as ABS, traction control would be nice, lean sensitive would be awesome, modern suspension, and yeah, generally a feeling of newness, which I'm not going to get with this VFR. Not the VFR's fault, obviously. The current leader in my race to become my next bike is the BMW S1000 XR. But I'm being fussy. A, it's going to be a used model. B, I want the bike with low suspension, so it's kind of more accessible. And C, I want forged wheels. I think the best way to get that combination is to buy one of the M Sport models that's been out in the last couple of years, the red, white and blue ones, but they're not cheap. We're talking 16 to 17,000 pounds. So I'm conflicted. Do I want to spend that much money this summer? As you can imagine, part of me says yes, do it. Get an amazing bike. Part of me goes, no. Save your money. Increase your savings. Be sensible. Yeah, so I'm not sure which way to go yet. What I am pretty set on is I want the bike to be kind of an upright riding position, plenty of power, and a fairing, and not too heavy. Something I can take on a track day and also take touring. And yeah, that 16 to 17k is my upper limit. But also, if I buy a second-hand bike, I don't want it to have too many miles, you know, and be too used. Now the bike that's basically the answer to all of those desires is the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus. But there's a couple of issues with that bike. A, I don't like the looks. Styling is a miss in my books. And B, I've heard a lot about wind noise with the windscreen and people's attempts to solve it without success. And that puts me right off, because I've had plenty of struggles trying to solve windscreen buffeting and noise issues over the years. Unless I change my attitude about the Tracer 9 GT, I don't think I'll be getting one of those. But another way of doing this is maybe not spending nearly as much on my next bike. Something with a fairing. Something that can do track days, but not so much the long distance thing. And that'll be in the shape of an old Suzuki VFR750. Plenty of performance once you wind the throttle open wide enough. Be absolutely spot on around a track day. As a road bike though, I have my serious doubts. And my next bike has to be a road bike as well as a track day bike. So it will be a compromise. Anything I buy next will be a compromise. Everything's a compromise, isn't it, really, I suppose? One way or the other. Or I keep this bike. Well, I mean, I'm keeping this bike, but it becomes the main bike for the summer. Which would be interesting, for sure. it would be an adventure, could really become an adventure if I choose not to take it off the road, give it the things it needs, such as, you know, chassis bearings all round, new rear shock, YSS or Race Tech cartridges in the front forks. So as usual, I'm kind of mentally stuck about what to do next. I keep flip-flopping and yeah, struggling to come to a decision, especially when it involves spending a lot of money. Now, I've only ever come up this road on my KTM 390 Adventure or my Kawasaki 300 Versys. Not been up here on a grown-up road bike. Oh, now I know why. That was rubbish. There's a little lane I like to go up to kind of challenge myself on the smaller bikes. I don't think I'll do that on this bike. At least it's very unlikely. But I have wanted to take this bike on the little lanes, really little lanes, narrow ones like this. Not green lanes. Just to see what it's like going as slow on this bike as I do on the 300s or the smaller bikes sometimes. Well, unfortunately with this bike, compared to the Kawasaki and the KTM, less suspension travel, and what there is a fair bit firmer than the other bikes. Although the KTM's actually got fairly firm suspension, but this feels rather rigid anyway in comparison. Yeah, so I normally go up there, but I'd rather not risk it. I spin the back wheel on the 300s going up there because it's often muddy. Although this didn't look much better now. Note to self, I've got no ABS. Oh god, this might be just someone's garden. Oh no, it's a road of sorts. In other news, my KTM 390 is now with AMS of Tewkesbury, where I bought it from, to diagnose the issue I've got with the front end, which I suspect to be a warped front disc. But once that's fixed, I think the KTM will be up for sale. Well, I think I'll avoid being upside down on it, luckily, in terms of the finances, because I purchased it on, I think, 3.9% APR. Not on PCP, but on a hire purchase. And I did a £3,000 deposit on it, so I didn't have a lot to pay monthly. And in other news, I thought I got my Honda Bros running nicely the other day. I messed about with the pilot jets at the bottom of the carbs with absolutely no skill, no talent. I just tweaked them until the bike kind of ticked over nicely and held constant throttle nicely at a standstill in the back garden. Sounded great. I was really hopeful about it, but then I rode it and it was an absolute pig. I've ruined the carburation now. So I've set the carburation to what I think is the stock settings, which are probably not great considering I've got a jet kit in the carbs and pod air filters, but I had to reset it to something. But I haven't ridden it since because I've made a mess of routing the choke and throttle cables, and the revs are doing silly things or weird things when I move the handlebars. So I've got to get the tank off, check the routing all the cables, try and make that right. Basically I screwed them all up when I fitted the tubular bars or the routing to try and get more clearance out of the cables. And now I've got to fix it. Otherwise I'd be out on it today, or I'd give it another test ride. But it's in a bit of a state. Now, I owe you folks a Suzuki GSX-S 1000 GX video. Got it recorded, I just need to edit it. And now I've got another video that I've recorded and I need to edit, which is a Yamaha T-Max 560 Tech Pack, I think that's called, that's the model. Or no, Tech Max, that's the one. Yeah, definitely these roads benefit from motorbikes with longer travel suspension than this. Don't think I'll be doing this again anytime soon. Oh, hello. That's going to be tight. Come on then. You're fine so far. Coming over a bit. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Thank you. I remember being on a road like this, probably for the first time in my adult life, about 4 years ago on my BMW S1000R, and I was shocked to find that there was grass in the middle of the road, because I never ventured on roads like that usually. Wow, this road's a real mess. So yeah, it was quite a surprise to see such poorly maintained roads. Wow. Where's my Kawasaki when I need it? I need to get off this road. Well, about time I give the bike a bit of a run out in the rev range, isn't it? Well, heading back to Gloucester now. That's the end of my little pootle around today. Enjoyed it, but those really little nadry lanes I don't think I'll be doing again on this bike anytime soon. But it's just nice to be out in the UK with some decent temperatures and some sunshine. This hasn't happened very often so far this year. There's some beautiful views around here. I don't think I've gone any further than about 15 miles away from home today on this little ride. I am pretty blessed to live where I do. Well, that's the end of the ride, if indeed any of this makes it to YouTube, which it probably won't. But if it does, thanks for hanging out with me. And I'll see you in another video soon. Take care. Ta-da!